Thanks everyone for attending. I know it's after lunch, and thanks to my previous presenter type stuff. So I'm here today to give you a bit of an overview about a passion of mine. Hopefully it might strike a few chords with yourselves as well around things. So bear with me. It's more of a journey and a story rather than a sales pitch, as we'll say. So quick outline. I'm just going to do some welcomes and introductions, and then what we're going to look at trying to do is trying to set a scene about something you've lost, something that's precious to you, and how it makes you feel, and then we'll get round to the electronics bit of it a little bit later on. So without further ado, we'll go on. So yeah, this is my first time at B-Side, so thanks to Jen and everybody for inviting me over. Thanks to everybody for coming over and sitting and listening. Hopefully you'll find this reasonably entertaining and everything else. So, as I said, it's not a sales pitch, although it is related to a product that I did help create for my severely disabled son many, many years ago, type of stuff, and it's just a bit about the journey that we've been on over the last 10 years or so. So, as I said, hopefully you'll find it thought-provoking, maybe challenging in a positive way, and maybe, who knows, inspiring and dare to say, from my side anyway, life-changing, as you'll find out as we get through. So, a quick introduction. As we said, I'm Steve Lodge. I've been a techie since I was about 14, and working on computers and technology and electronics and software development. Got into problem solving, and deep down, I guess I'm a lot like many people in the room, techie at heart, with a passion, trying to do stuff, trying to fix things, trying to make things work, trying to make things better, trying to protect people, and all those types of things. So, as I said, went all the way through my career, eventually had a family, and, great achievement, first son born, but unfortunately for Callum, found out that he was severely disabled, and challenging behaviours, and non-verbal, and as a result, we were stuck with trying to reach out to Callum and what we could do about making his life better, making the family's life better, and everything else like that. We all know about Stephen Hawking and the brilliance and his electronic communication device, and how the world wouldn't be where it is right now if Professor Hawkins didn't have the ability to express himself and come up with the theories and present those theories, etc. There's countless tens of thousands or millions of people that are not always afforded that right, which is why I kind of came up with the Speak to Me concept and trying to do that. There's a little picture of Callum using one of his Speak to Me, using drag and drop text images and text to speech to create words and phrases that helps him. So if Callum does this, you can guess he's asking you for a drink. Well, Callum only eats 5 things and drinks 1 thing. He only drinks pure orange juice. So if you give him tea or Coca-Cola or whatever it is, he won't drink it. Obviously, that gets him upset and frustrated, which again is why we're looking at using technology, using what's out there to give children like Callum and adults like Callum is now, an opportunity to express themselves. So just put yourself into the position of, I'm sure as we've all grown up, we've lost something of value, your house keys, your wallet, credit cards, car, whatever it is. Just imagine how you feel when that happens. You get a sense of dread. You get anxious, you get stressed, you get worried, you get all those types of things. Probably get angry, at yourself for whatever's happened, type of thing. And Callum lives with that concept all the time. He's always in that particular mindset of not being able to be stressed and concerned and things like that. So, as I say, you could potentially lose something even more valuable. Friendships, relationships, family, life, or, as I say, in Callum's situation, lose your voice. So I thought of the thing and tried to make it a bit more interactive, kind of knowing that I got a post-lunchtime slot. I thought, well, I know we've got social distance and everything else, so we'll see how this works out. But I thought we'd do a quick exercise. And so imagine that you wake up from a dream. The dream that you were having was, you've lost your voice. But the actual thing is, you really have lost your voice. So everyone in the room's lost their voice, apart from me, obviously, because make it really difficult. So imagine then that you can't speak, you can't write, you can't text message, you can't IM chat, you can't draw. How would you communicate? How would you tell people what you want, what you need, how you feel it? All those things that we take for granted all the time. So just using basic pointing or objects, not that we've got many in the auditorium today, but if you did have, or miming, or all those types of things, remember to follow the rules. If you're in person or online, try and turn to the person next to you or adjacent to you if you want to participate, and just try and tell them something about it. Tell them your favourite food, where you've been on holiday, TV show, movie that you last saw if you ever went to one, now the cinemas are open. You want to give it a go? I can see some of you trying, but I guess what we'll all realise is that it's really, really difficult, isn't it? You know, without an object, without a point of reference, without somebody to interpret, using different cues and different signs, is very difficult. But like I said, that's the world that Callum and children and adults like Callum live with on a daily basis. And Callum's problem solving is amazing. He will come up with amazing things about wanting to watch YouTube. That's his sign for YouTube. We had to figure that out, but that's what he meant by YouTube. So when he wants to watch his YouTube, he might want to watch Disney Scar battle scene on YouTube. And he will come up with a creative way of letting his family know that that's what he wants to try and do. But that's difficult when we know what it is, but if he goes to anywhere else, he doesn't know. They don't always know what his sign is, and he's communicating. So that's why I came up with kind of the concept for Speak to Me. As I said, we're saying that, miming and charades are fun when it's at a party. But if you had to do that constantly, all the time, every day of your life to get your needs met, to do those types of things, to even do the basics, to ask for a drink, or to go to the toilet, or whatever it is, you'd be struck. And again, the broader public, 99.99% of the population don't know sign language. I know basic sign language, A, B, C, D type of stuff. I can pretty much put things together. We know basic signs for Makaton, for Moa, various other stuff for Callum. But again, when you go out in public, Callum's out, and he's trying to do his sign, it makes it difficult. And hence, that's why we kind of came up with the concept for Speak to Me. So, like I said, it's a communication device. It was really meant to be easy to use. It uses drag and drops, pictures, standardized images and pictures, text-to-speech engine, and a simple, consistent user interface, which is what we wanted to try and help so that people can get familiar with it. As you see, it just uses little objects to drag and drop. So it says, I can see red cat. Can I go to the toilet? We just use the drag and drop. And lots of children and adults that have got autism and have tapping things, they tap either the hands or objects or things like that. So if having an object on the screen and just tapping it all the time, you just fill the screen up. So the traditional communication devices until Speak to Me came along were just no real good, no real use for Callum, because he would fill the screen up with I want, and he would never get to what he really wanted. Whereas the drag and drop, it helps support the intentional communication, which is what we were looking at trying to do for Callum and those like him. We can also get it to work with eye gaze, so if you're in a wheelchair and you can't use your hands, For example, you have it tracking dyes, stuff like that. It works with various different interfaces and other hardware technologies. And also you can have it in different languages. The beauty of pictures are they're universal. You have it translated into different languages, so you can have it in French or German or Chinese or any boundless languages that we've got out there. So really what am I trying to do here is I'm just trying to give everybody a bit of a thing that says, we're all working busy, hurried lives, we're all challenging, running around, trying to do things, trying to earn a living, trying to be good people, trying to help against the black hats and everybody else type stuff like that. Imagine if you've got an electronic communication device and that was your only means of communication and it got ransomware, it got whatever happened to it. Imagine having the benefit of hearing your voice and all of a sudden having it snatched away from you again and things like that. So that's one of the things that I'm really keen to try and look at and trying to make these things more resilient and better for the wider community and things of that order. So Speak2Me is currently operating on Windows operating system because that's what I was familiar with. But ideally, I'd love to try and get it onto an iOS and Android platforms and things like that. So, reaching out to the wider community, just saying, this is my story, this is what I've done, this is what I'm trying to do. These are all the people and individuals that we're trying to help around the country and around the world type of stuff. So if there's anybody out there, anybody online watching that's got the time or talent or contacts or whatever that wants to maybe reach out to me, have a conversation about it, come up with some other ideas or whatever, and see if we can look at maybe trying to get that into a wider audience. I mean, lots of the UK schools have invested heavily into the iPad platforms and various other things of that order. But my concept was always to try and make it, that Speak2Me should be universally available, regardless of operating system, regardless of technology, without getting into a sales pitch, around a price point that's commercially viable and out there. If you're a single mum with 2 disabled, non-verbal children on benefits or low incomes and things like that, really want to try and make it that, why should those people be disadvantaged? Why should they not be able to use voice or means of expressive communication themselves? And that's my passion, and hopefully, others might ideally like to share that as well. So that's kind of my story. That's where I've come from. Any questions? Yeah? I did a long time ago. We looked at maybe that concept. I think we've looked at Unity. We looked at PhoneGap when it first came out. I mean, I've registered the patents back in 2009. We've got children that are actually using and benefiting from Speak2Me down in some special needs schools in London. They were originally got a low attainment level, and their targets were set at relatively modest levels. But they managed to invest in a few Speak2Me's, get them out into the hands of their children, and they outperformed all their targets across the board, all the children that were on there, because they were able to express. I mean, you imagine going to a school and not being able to communicate and knowing all your times tables, but still being taught your times tables for 4 years or 2 years when you already understood them the first week you was in school. Imagine how you would feel if you couldn't express that. And that's what happens in a lot of cases. Children and individuals get frustrated, they get demotivated, they have challenging behaviours as a result type of stuff. And putting something like Speak2Me or other products like that out there into the wider community should help, do that. Yeah?
Is it require set to be trained? Is it require set to be trained to actually use this?
No, that's a good question. I mean, from my, I've been a busy, geeky dad for, 20 odd years with Callum. I've gone to the time of having to spend time learning complex manuals. I've come from a technical background, so, that's relatively straightforward and intuitive. But, I put myself, again, as some of the speakers have said on some of the B-sides topics before, trying to keep it simple. So, simple user interface, easy to configure, consistent, and do those types of things. So, it's 3 or 4 pages on a PDF that you can download from the Speak2Me website type of stuff that will give you the core setups and configurations. And effectively, it's just like, as we said before, it's just like a tab tab filofaxes, digital tab filofaxes with images on there. You can have pictures and photos of family, friends. I've got license agreements in place with three of the top 4 worldwide educational image companies around the world. So that children going into special needs school, who've got access to those particular image sets, they can then use those in class. They can use them consistently on their device. They can take them away with them, etc. And that was, so I really wanted to work with the best in class. But
question as well about it.
Go on then.
Do you consider being open source to allow people to contribute that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly things that I've kind of done. I've self-funded it all myself, predominantly because I wanted to try and, I won't say monetize it, but I've got a special needs child that eventually I'm going to stop working and eventually I will die, unfortunately. And Callum will be 40, 50 years old. He will be in type of stuff. And if there is an opportunity to actually make something, put it into a charitable foundation or a trust, maybe create an opportunity where we can have living care centres that are based, sponsored by, I don't know, a Speech for Me Foundation or whatever. That was my ultimate vision type of stuff. But I'm not ruling anything off the table at the minute. But I'm a single geeky dad, just trying to do the best I can to try and get onto an iOS or an Android platform, which obviously that's the new Surface Girls out, so that's looking encouraging. I've got it on the Surface Pros as well, and lots of other things. So, any others? Yes, they're the three. Yeah, they're the three. So there's. The three image sets that there's PCS, which is owned by, I believe, is owned by Mary Johnson or whatever in the States. There's Rigid Symbols in the UK, and there's Symbol Sticks, which is the Stickman type derivative that are used predominantly. They're the three primary ones that are used. There's also a picture exchange communication system, PEX symbol set, and there's the Makaton sign symbol set, which is heavily used in lots of special needs schools, but Makaton tend to be very conservative about who they'll release their image sets to. I did have conversations with them before, and but once so if you're going into an education environment, you're likely to be using one of those, certainly PCS or widget symbols. So yeah, like anything else, there's a license fee for each of the image sets, but it's a lot easier to reuse 20, 30, 40,000 image sets, images that are categorised and being created and used heavily within the education sectors or whatever. So again, I was trying to be consistent with what the children or the adults are likely to use. Augment that by using digital photos, any other thing that you want to import into Speak to Me. You can also record your own voice. For example, in some of the earlier versions that I did, it had a broad Yorkshire accent on them when I digitised all the voices, but obviously using text-to-speech engines and computer synthesized speech, you can put different accents on or different dialects, etc. From different languages. Alright? Yeah?
So this presented to university is straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good shout. I mean, I've tried reaching out to various different organisations in the past. I was over at, my daughter's just started at the Huddersfield University of Huddersfield, and she went visiting before COVID some of the other campuses. I think Bradford had got quite a good digital technology centre and things like that. But again, it's just trying to find somebody that's I mean, as I said, I'm an ex-software developer. I haven't coded for like 10 or 15 years since I was working with prototypes on this, and that was way back when type of stuff. And I know it's basic database, some images, graphical user interface, text-to-speech engine, and but apart from me learning to recode again, things like that, which I'm still going through my cyber security certifications and stuff. So maybe next year I'll get onto coding again, type of thing. But I've never given up, type of thing, and that's one of the things that we probably should all take away is still believe in the great idea, concept, how it can help people, how it can change lives, and hopefully one day it'll be on a lot more devices, helping a lot more individuals around the world. Yeah.
Not the other question, I think there's some potential innovations
Yeah, I mean, there's the hearing community we've engaged with. I've worked with Barnsley Speech and Language before, some years ago, and again, what we're trying to do is just get the device out there, get the anecdotes. I mean, now it's in some of the special needs schools in London and various other places. They've provided some brilliant testimonies and evidence base about how it's reduced behaviours, how it's increased attainment, how it's opened up the educational pathways to children, special needs children, and things of that order. So, again, I've said all along, I'm more than happy to work and take contributions from wherever type of stuff. So, it's great to get an opportunity to come out and present, and even if you can't help, you might know someone who can. Okay. Are we on time? Under? Over?